dark voice.
The story of a woman mentioned in the Quran who was half jinn, half human. The most mysterious woman in history, Queen Bilqis. She was the wife of Prophet Sulaiman. Bilqis ruled a kingdom that stretched from southern Arabia to Africa. There are some incredible facts about her that you should know, since some historians have claimed that she was half human and half jinn. The question is, could Prophet Sulaiman, the king of the jinn, truly marry a jinn while being a human? What does Islamic history say about this?
This story began with a small bird whose name is mentioned in the Quran as Hudhud. Hudhud, who could understand human speech, was a trusted spy for Prophet Sulaiman and brought important political news from far-off lands. If you are ready, let's learn the whole story in detail. Prophet Sulaiman's army was one of the strangest armies in history. This army included humans, jinn, birds, and other animals. Even the wind would carry Prophet Sulaiman wherever he wished. The human army consisted of infantry soldiers and cavalrymen. The jinn soldiers were invisible to human eyes. This army was created to be so formidable that enemies couldn't even see many of its members. Some birds and animals also joined the army. The lion was the leader of the animal army, followed by the tiger. The bird division included many hawks and predatory birds. The Hudhud bird was in charge of the intelligence department. Hudhud's task was to fly far away and spy on the enemy's positions. He would observe and learn everything. Then he would return and report. Hudhud's role was extremely sensitive and important. When the army gathered, many animals noticed Hudhud was absent. They began to whisper amongst themselves. The commander will arrive soon and realize that Hudhud is absent.
Finally, when Prophet Sulaiman came to the army, the whisperings grew louder. He came and saw that Hudhud was not there. Actually, Hudhud was in the land of Saba at that time. He had traveled a great distance and felt within himself that he would uncover some important news. He landed on a tall tree situated over the city. From there, he observed the streets, houses, palace and gates, everything. He noticed something unusual. It seemed like people were gathering for some kind of ceremony. So he asked another hoopoe living in the city, "Oh, beautiful Hudhud, please tell me what is happening in this city."
The people are going to see the Queen of Saba. They will all prostrate before the sun there. Suleiman's spy bird then confirmed that his feeling was right. He first saw the guards, then the commanders and soldiers, and finally, the Queen of Saba herself came out of the throne. She descended from her throne and led the people. She raised both her hands and prostrated before the sun. All the people prostrated with her. Hudhud observed everything and wondered what Prophet Sulaiman's reaction would be to this news. He immediately flew back. After a long, tiring journey, he arrived at the place where Sulaiman's entire army was gathered. All the birds surrounded him, and they were all angry. A small sparrow spoke first. "Where were you? Prophet Sulaiman has asked about you. We hope you have a proper explanation." More fear entered the hearts of the hoopoes. He decided he must go and apologize to Prophet Sulaiman immediately. He flew toward Prophet Sulaiman's tent, trembling.
Prophet Sulaiman was having his dinner. Hudhud flew in through the window and quietly sat in a corner of the table. He tried to stay away from Sulaiman's hand, head bowed in fear. He slowly offered a respectful greeting. He raised his head, but only as far as Suleiman's hands and chest. He had learnt a lot from his leader, and he knew that to touch Prophet Suleiman's heart, he must speak the truth clearly. My king, I have brought news of a nation you are unaware of. In a distant land, I saw a woman ruling over the people of Saba. She sits on a grand throne and possesses all things that one cannot easily acquire. But I saw her and her people prostrating to the sun instead of Allah. Satan has made their deeds seem pleasing to them. These words were powerful. Hudhud showed that there was a real reason behind his absence. He was on an important mission. Prophet Sulaiman began to respond. Indeed, we must verify whether what you say is true. I will write a letter, you will deliver it to them and see how they react.
Hudhud quickly flew away with the letter to the land of Saba. He landed on a tree in the palace garden and began searching for the queen's chamber. He saw a large room with a wide balcony. He realized this was the queen's room. Holding the letter in his beak, he flew toward the open window and entered the room. He decided to hide behind a column on the roof. He looked out and saw the queen sleeping in bed. Her hair was spread over the pillow, and her face was very beautiful. As he watched her beauty, a sadness arose in Hudhud's heart. How can someone with so much beauty, wealth, and power prostrate before the sun? Hudhud thought. He felt that Satan had deceived them. Satan had forced them to worship something that was not the true God, but how did he do it? Then Hudhud thought, if Suleiman's army fights the people of Saba, the outcome is clear. Yes, the queen is powerful, but she cannot defeat the prophet's army. Suleiman's soldiers will easily take over. Hudhud pondered, should I drop the letter now or wait for her to wake up? He didn't know what was written in the letter. While thinking all this, the letter suddenly slipped from his beak and fell onto the queen's bed. The queen opened her eyes and saw a letter in front of her. She quickly looked around but saw no one. Feeling a sense of fear, she quietly opened the letter and began to read. This message is from Sulaiman. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. I invite you to believe in one Allah. Do not show arrogance toward me. Come to me and surrender. The queen became angry and looked around again, searching for who had brought the letter. But seeing no one, her anger increased. She called her guards and said, "Who dared to enter my chamber? Who did this?" The guards were astonished. They said, "No one entered the queen's room." They testified that they were constantly armed with swords and kept their eyes open. They swore that no one had come near the queen's room. Meanwhile, the hoopoe bird was hiding in an empty space above the ceiling and was listening to everything. Queen Bilqis screamed. Then where did this letter come from? She held up the letter. The guards made various guesses about how the letter arrived, but no one saw anything. They were bewildered and did not know what to say.
Queen Bilqis quickly called an emergency meeting with her advisors. The advisors gathered, and Queen Bilqis led the meeting. She said, "O my advisors, I have received a very important letter. It is from Sulaiman. He began his letter in the name of Allah, Al-Rahman and Al-Rahim. He told me to come to him without arrogance. Tell me, what should we do?" One advisor said, "This means Sulaiman wants us to surrender to him." Another said, "This sounds like a declaration of war. Let us fight." Another said, "We are also powerful. Let us fight him and show our strength." Almost everyone agreed to this opinion.
But a wise advisor suddenly asked, "Where is the messenger who brought this letter?" Without him, Sulaiman's true intention cannot be understood. Queen Bilqis replied that she did not know. She said, "I woke up and saw the letter lying on the bed." Another advisor added, "This matter is somewhat terrifying. I say we should wait. If Sulaiman can send a message in such a strange and powerful way without a messenger, then who knows how formidable his military power is? So, should we wait and see?" Queen Bilqis said, "When a king attacks a country, they destroy everything and humiliate the honorable people, making them weak. I fear the same might happen to us. Therefore, I propose that we send some gifts and observe his reaction through a messenger."
No one objected, so the queen's advice was accepted. The hoo bird was listening to the entire conversation. As soon as the meeting ended, he flew away. An announcement was made in the city of Saba that a gift made of gold and gems would be prepared at any cost. They told the queen it must be a royal gift. Sulaiman was a powerful and formidable man, and only a precious gift might appease him. The future of the kingdom depended on his favor. The kingdom's craftsmen began working day and night to create this special gift. They used various precious materials. Finally, the gift was ready. It was a gold plate. On both sides were 2 wolves made of gold and gems. When Queen Bilqis saw this exquisite and valuable gift, she was pleased. She told her envoys to get ready and deliver it to Sulaiman. She also sent one of her generals to gather more information about Sulaiman's military strength. She told her messengers, "Try to find out what Sulaiman truly wants from us and how strong his army is." Prophet Sulaiman had already learned about the queen's assembly through Hudhud. When Hudhud was circling the border, he saw the convoy of messengers and quickly returned to Sulaiman with the news. Hearing from him, he understood that the queen was sending gifts. He understood that the queen's true intention was to gauge his attitude and the strength of his army. So Sulaiman ordered his army to be prepared and lined up to receive the queen's messengers. He also sent some people to welcome them. Prophet Sulaiman had only one goal: "I want them to feel defeated before they even meet me." The messengers of Queen Bilqis suddenly came face to face with a massive army. They began counting the number of soldiers and writing down which animals were in the army. Their astonishment knew no bounds when they saw that Sulaiman's army was composed not only of humans, but also of lions, tigers, elephants, birds, and many other animals. They also saw that this army could move from one place to another using the wind. Their eyes widened, their mouths dropped in shock. This army was entirely different, majestic, and terrifying. When they noticed some weapons moving by themselves, their fear increased even more. They looked at each other and asked in terror, "What is this?" The officer who was showing them around calmly replied,
"These are just a few jinn soldiers practicing their morning exercises." The messengers were astonished, and they became even more eager to meet Sulaiman. However, Prophet Sulaiman refused to meet them directly. Instead, he sent one of his subordinates to speak with them. The officer invited the envoys to lunch at the palace. The messengers looked around and realized how insignificant and worthless their gift seemed compared to the glory and power of Suleiman's kingdom. Still, they reluctantly and shamefacedly handed over the gifts. The officer took the gifts to Suleiman's chamber, but shortly after he returned with the gifts, he placed them on the table and said, "Prophet Suleiman refused to accept these gifts." Then he conveyed Suleiman's message, "Do you think you can influence us with your wealth? What Allah has given us is far superior to what you have. Take your gifts back. If we come to you with an army, the like of which you cannot even imagine, then Prophet Sulaiman will drive you out of the city with disgrace." The messengers were terrified. One of them asked the officer, "What does Sulaiman truly want from us? Please tell us clearly so we can inform the queen." He calmly replied, "Prophet Sulaiman wants only one thing, for your queen and the people to surrender to him."
They realized that this message was both a call for peace and a severe warning. So the messengers returned to Queen Bilqis to deliver Suleiman's words. When the messengers arrived, the queen was sleeping. However, she had told her maids to wake her immediately if the messengers arrived. So they woke her up, despite not wanting to disturb her. Queen Bilqis met with the messengers as soon as she opened her eyes. She asked, "Tell me, what did Suleiman say after we gave him the gifts?" The messengers explained that they could not meet Suleiman. One of his commanders accepted the gifts and took them to the prophet. But unfortunately, Suleiman did not accept the gifts. He had sent the gifts back to them. They also conveyed Suleiman's message. Hearing this, the queen lowered her head in thought. Suleiman had neither accepted her gifts nor welcomed her messengers. She wanted to know more details about everything they had seen. She understood that Suleiman would accept only one thing: surrender. The messengers also described the strength of Suleiman's army. When the queen heard that his army also included jinn and animals, she realized how serious the situation was. If she chose the path of war, she might lose everything. Now only one path remained: to try to convince Suleiman in another way. She looked at the gifts and began to think deeply. Then she decided to gather the members of the royal court and the war advisors of the kingdom. This meeting would be extremely important.
Meanwhile, Prophet Sulaiman called a meeting in his city. His council included ministers, commanders, war experts, and wise scholars. 2 lions were on guard duty, protecting the meeting. The Hudhud bird was also there, ready to report. Prophet Sulaiman began the assembly. "I praise him who has given us all this wealth and power." Although he was greatly angered within, he did not outwardly express it. He said, "How is it possible that while we are alive and carry the banner of monotheism, there are still people on earth who worship the sun? This is a failure and a shame for us." Suleiman was not ruling for his own glory, but as a representative of God's kingdom. This is why he was feeling both anger and a sense of duty at the same time. Then the general stood up, sword in hand, and said, "Just give the order. I will destroy the throne of the Queen of Saba and this nation that denies Allah." But Sulaiman said, "I do not like violence. We must find another way. I hope the queen herself will come and meet me here. But before she arrives, who among you can bring her throne here?" Then a jinn said, "I can bring her throne before you, even before you stand up. You know how powerful I am." But then a scholar who had received special knowledge from Allah, ilm iladuni, said, "I can bring her throne before you, even before you blink." When Sulaiman accepted this offer, Bilqis's throne suddenly appeared before him. No human had ever done such a thing before. Everyone was stunned. The throne was massive and royal. Everyone stared at it, silently lost in thought. The Hudhud bird was also there, trying to understand the meaning of this miraculous event. Meanwhile, in the city of Saba, the assembly of the royal court and the war council was taking place. Queen Bilqis was leading the assembly. The queen said in a tired voice, "Today we face a terrible situation. Sulaiman wants us to surrender to him. He threatens to destroy our power. I am seeking your help. Come on, let's find a solution." The advisors agreed that perhaps only the queen herself going to Sulaiman with an even greater gift could bring peace. But they also said, if this gift is also rejected, then war is the only alternative, and this war might erase our existence from history. Everyone looked at Queen Bilqis as their last hope. So the queen decided to take a risk. She would go to Sulaiman's palace herself.
Preparations began and plans were made to create new, even more beautiful and valuable gifts. Prophet Sulaiman knew that the queen's notions of power and advancement were wrong. She prided herself on the art and technology of her country, but Prophet Sulaiman wanted to teach her an important truth. True greatness and real progress only come when one is under the banner of monotheism, believing in the oneness of Allah. No system can endure without faith in Allah. If you lose the world but gain Allah, then you are the winner. But if you gain the whole world and lose Allah, what good is it? Prophet Sulaiman, who was a wise prophet, not only ordered Bilqis's throne to be brought, but he also gave another order, to change the design of the throne. When Sulaiman saw the symbol of the sun on the throne, he said, "What folly! Does anyone worship the sun? Even if the sun were made of gold, prostrating before it is absolutely meaningless." He ordered some parts of the throne to be changed. According to his command, the redesign of the throne began. Meanwhile, as Queen Bilqis was finishing her preparations for the journey, she ordered a caravan to be prepared to travel with her. During this time, Sulaiman summoned the best architect in his kingdom and said, "Do you know why I called you? I want to build a palace that is built upon water. It should look as if it is floating on water. Its entrance should be transparent, so when someone looks down, they think it is just water." The architect said, If that is what you wish, I will use pure glass for the floor so the water beneath is clearly visible." Sulaiman said, "Yes, that will be perfect. Can you tell me how long this construction will take?" The architect replied, "If you allow the help of the jinn, it will be finished in 2 weeks. And if only humans build it, it will take a long time." Sulaiman said, "I will order the jinn to help, but I want the floor to be perfectly transparent glass so the water beneath is fully visible." The architect asked again, "My lord, do you want anything special for the ceiling or the walls?" Sulaiman said, "Do you think?" The architect said, "I think the ceiling should be glass. Then the sunlight will reflect off the water and create a stunning sight. I also propose that the walls be made of mirrors." Prophet Sulaiman was pleased with these ideas and ordered the architect to begin the work. The architect began the work. Within a few days, a magnificent palace rose over the water. And just then, Queen Bilqis was arriving near Sulaiman's territory. The hoopoe bird, along with an officer, was waiting for the queen at the border. Along the way, the queen noticed many strange things. All the stories the messengers had told were true. This land was full of wonders. The closer she got to the palace, the more astonished she became. She saw a part of Sulaiman's army. It was the most powerful, terrifying army she had ever seen. Her fear deepened, her heart raced, and she struggled to breathe. This army did not feel human. It must have been formed with divine help. After seeing all this, she began to doubt the glory and progress of her own kingdom. Upon reaching the city, her self-confidence began to crumble. Her arrogance and pride started to melt away. Her fear slowly turned into respect and awe. And very soon, she was about to enter the palace that Sulaiman had specially built. The sight she faced was quite extraordinary. Sulaiman's kingdom was not just built with wealth and glory, it was full of beauty and art. The golden pillars, the gem-studded doors, and the handcrafted ornamentation in every corner dazzled her eyes. But the most astonishing was the floor of the entrance hall of Sulaiman's palace. It was made of glass. Beneath it flowed clear, sparkling water. It shone so brightly that it seemed like a deep reservoir. As Queen Bilqis walked slowly toward the palace, she thought the floor was actually water. So she lifted her dress so it wouldn't get wet. And at that moment, her feet became visible.
Now we come to the most mysterious part of this story. According to some old sources, Sulaiman had built this glass floor with a secret purpose. It was not just for beauty, it was a test. Why? Because Prophet Sulaiman, who controlled the jinn, had received some secret information. Rumors had spread that Bilqis was no ordinary human. Some believed she was half human and half jinn. Prophet Sulaiman knew the nature of the jinn very well. He also knew that most jinn have hairy legs. So, he had the glass floor built in a way that looked like water so that Bilqis would lift her dress. And at that moment, he could see her legs and verify his doubt. When Bilqis crossed the glass floor, Sulaiman was confirmed she was a human. Then Sulaiman showed Queen Bilqis her throne. Queen Bilqis was stunned with amazement. Prophet Sulaiman asked her, "Is this your throne?" Bilqis looked closely. She couldn't figure out exactly what to say. The throne looked exactly like her own, but something was changed. Finally, she said, "It looks like my throne." Beneath the throne, Sulaiman had left a message. "We are submitters to Allah." Bilqis looked even deeper and realized that it was indeed her own throne. Somehow, it had been brought from her palace even before she arrived, and some changes were made. It was another proof of the extraordinary power that Allah had given to Prophet Sulaiman.
Queen Bilqis was plunged into deep thought.
The more she thought, the more she realized how weak and foolish her nation's belief was compared to the rational and knowledge-based thinking of Prophet Sulaiman. That day, she was invited to lunch. Prophet Sulaiman sat next to her and began the conversation. He said, Allah, the sustainer of all the world, the most gracious, the most merciful. By his words I say, he created the sun for the service of humans. Just as the butterflies and lotus flowers in the garden are governed by Allah's will, so too is the sun, a part of Allah's creation devoted to his service. For a great creation like humanity to prostrate to another creation, even if it is the sun, is an insult to human intelligence. Queen Bilqis then understood that the sun they had been worshipping was actually a beautiful trap created by Satan. For the first time, the brilliance of the sun faded in her heart, and a new light, a light that never sets, shone within her. Just then her advisors came and said, "The sun is about to set. It is time for our daily sun worship." The queen exclaimed, "O fools! Do you still believe the sun is worthy of worship? Satan made our complete disbelief look beautiful to us. Leave this place." Without hearing what Prophet Sulaiman had said, the advisors were terrified and quickly retreated from there. For the first time, a warm, beautiful feeling flowed in the queen's heart. It was like the colors of the rainbow reflecting her inner feelings.
Queen Bilqis realized the time had come to embrace Islam. With deep emotion, she confessed that she had been deceiving herself for so long, and she accepted Islam. Soon, the people of Saba followed their queen. They abandoned sun worship and began to prostrate only before Allah. And all of this started on the day a feeling arose in the heart of the little hoopoe bird, and he spoke that news with his voice, even when the other birds had already flown away. This story is narrated in our holy book, Al-Quran Al-Karim. It reminds us how great the value of knowledge is, how high the dignity of a scholar is, and that true knowledge is a gift from Allah. We should be grateful for it.